Oh, so the rewards are gonna be blueprints for the, so that's what you're gonna do with it. They're gonna give us blueprints. You know what I just realized? Would we rather getting blueprints for these events so we can always craft the item or just be given the item? Because I'm starting to think to make things really exclusive where it's like, and like, because the thing about it, right? The thing you want to do to make sure it's like no one can get this post 1.0 is give us blueprints. If you make them blueprints, that it means it's just, you had to be there to get it, and it makes it feel more like personable to the people who've been playing through the testing phase of Star Citizen. I would totally 100% much rather blueprints. Blueprints makes it a thing where it's like, okay, boom, if you weren't here, you didn't get the blueprint. And they can literally like section those blueprints off and make it a thing where it's like, you can't get those blueprints post 1.0. So in my opinion, like, I feel like it's not a bad trade-off. Some people might not like it, but I feel like it's not a bad trade-off, you know? In my opinion anyway, but hey, what do I know, gang? Wait, do you mean this whole event is for nothing? Is that what you're saying? The whole event is literally for no reason? They deadass said, yeah, gang, you're playing for the love of the game, gang. Ain't no way. No blueprints aren't account bound. That doesn't mean earning them isn't worthwhile. In my opinion, what they're trying to say is it's not account bound. So, but I thought they would move forward. We thought they would move forward in the future with just account bound blueprints. No, but that's the thing. I feel like, you know, all the items that like, you know, like Luminalia and all these other events where we get items and they're bound to our accounts. In my opinion, I feel like it would be smarter to say, to make it fair, you have the blueprint, but you still have to go get the materials to craft the items. So you have these items bound to your account, but you still have to do some work. So it's not like, oh, we have a bunch of like things bound to our account for free when it comes to 1.0. I thought it would be smarter to like convert everything to that blueprint system. If you bind a blueprint to my account, even if you do wipe, at least I still keep my blueprint and I can use it again, you know? Because it's the same as having the actual item itself and you just always claim it back. Yeah, no, deadass, it is kind of lame. We gotta call a spade a spade. Yeah, hopefully, because like that's, what's the point of playing the event? If you're just getting something that's gonna be like, for now, you know? And the thing is, right, my second issue is the fact that it's blueprints. Back in the day, you do the Alliance Aid. They literally give you items you can use once you get them. Once you've completed it, you get the reward, you can use it. Giving me blueprints, I still have to work for the blueprint afterwards. I work to get the blueprint. That's an event item. Then I have to also work to get these things to make the blueprint. And then in a year's time, when we do a wipe, I lose it? I don't know now. Speaking of criminals, the crime stat system doesn't work around Daymar. Ooh, so Daymar is not the place to be right now. So you're telling me if I go to Daymar, I might get fried. Do you know the time I got jumped? Was that Daymar? Did I get jumped at Daymar? I don't remember. The day I got jumped by those two people and frick, what's the ship called? I forgot what it's called. But I think you guys know what the ship I'm talking about. That was Daymar? Right, so no wonder they jumped me. And it never asked me to give them a crime stat. It never said I should give them a crime stat. That makes a lot of sense now. Do you guys think Terra and any other system is going to come out before 1.0? Like a lot of the more UEE systems? Or do you think they're going to save it for 1.0? Because I'm guessing they want to test it out, right? Make sure it works. So they have to come out before 1.0. Okay, right. Because I was thinking maybe they would say like their very last system, they'd like make sure it's polished and like leave it for like the release to like entice regular players who are already playing and also entice a whole new audience. I thought they'd leave something huge. Kind of the way like ESO every so often adds a different map. Or do you think they're gonna add different maps that are not Terra and Castro? Because I'd like them to see them like add something humongous to like just break the world of gaming. Systems will be out, but areas in the system will come out later. I would have liked to see the face on new players when they come to StarCitizen at 1.0. Then it's like, yeah, oh my God, this game is so big. Then you're like, we're bringing out a whole new system. Just to get that vibe at 1.0 when we have like the most players, just to show people like CIG, StarCitizen, this universe that you're coming to join means business. That would be insane. They will have the most perfect version of StarCitizen. They'll be like, oh my God, this game is so good. wow, why did I not play this game sooner? And it's like, you weren't there in the dark days. You weren't there for the dark days. I literally already started saying, back in my day, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. There was no engineering. Your ship blew up, it blew up. I want CIG to blow people's minds away. I wanted them to keep some things in their pocket, some really crazy things, and not just ships, not just like, oh, this new ship is coming out. I really want them to keep some really crazy things just in their pocket. So when it's time to release, it's like, yeah, y'all thought this was it? Nah, there's more. Like, that's what I want from CIG. Because I already know apparently they cut down a lot of the systems they promised people in the initial release of Star Citizen and what they had as the scope. And people are mad about it. But again, you don't want the game to be way too big, especially when you're like, look at this. This universe already feels endless. Imagine we add like 100 different systems or something with 100 different planets. That's too much. Honestly, too much. It sounds good, it sounds cool, but it's still too much, man. So this is the roadmap roundup, July 1st, 2026. Hello everyone. Every 2 weeks we accompany the roadmap update with a brief explanatory note to give you insight into the decision making that led to any changes. This is part of an effort to make our communications more transparent, more specific, and more insightful for all of you who helped to make Star Citizen and Squadron 2 possible. The 1.0 column showcase features and content planned for inclusion in or before StarCitizen 1.0. This means you may not have to wait for the 1.0 release to experience them. As features content in the 1.0 column become ready, they will migrate left into a point patch column for release. Be sure to check out the every 2 weeks for the latest update. With that line, okay, right. We'd like to share an update on the upcoming Alpha 4.9 release, as well as our own ongoing initiative to address many of the common bugs and issues that both new and veteran players encounter on a regular basis. So both new and, at least they're saying that people who've been here for a while are still getting the same bugs, eh? As mentioned during a recent Star Citizen Live, we've reassessed our bug prioritization process following the release of Alpha 4.8.0. As part of that effort, we've refined how we prioritize bugs, with increased involvement from senior leadership alongside our development, QA, player experience, community, and other supporting teams to help ensure we're focusing on the issues that will make the biggest impact. Do you know what this is, right? This is basically telling me that they're accepting the fact that bugs are actively driving players away from Star Citizen, because them saying that they're prioritizing bugs. Because think about it, right? One of the biggest things when you're having a conversation about Star Citizen, it's we can fix the bugs later. We need to get things into the game. We can fix the bugs. We can make things function better when the game is finished. So them saying actively now fixing the bugs is becoming a priority. They're accepting that the bugs might be a driving factor in losing players if new players come, you know? It's good to hear, but I don't want them to lose focus. I don't want them to lose focus at all. We're hopeful this approach means you'll feel the difference, more issues fixed, and your gameplay sessions noticeably improving. So yeah, they're just saying, yeah, we need to actively make it better in terms of bug fixes. Based on reports from the Issue Council, Spectrum, Reddit, direct player feedback, and other sources, we have identified nearly 100 issues that significantly impact core gameplay systems and quality of life, covering the areas including, okay, instance hangars. Yes, there's issues. ATCs. What does ATC stand for? That's like the terminals, right? Your ship terminals and ship retrieval. These are big pain points. Think about it, Ryan. If instance hangars aren't working, you can't get your ships. You're not playing Star Citizen. You're just not playing Star Citizen. Think about it. Freight elevators, quantum travel, and star map routing. This is a big one for me. Whenever the star map, it hasn't been, even though most things have been broken for the 4.8 cycle, my quantum map and my star map, it hasn't been that bad. It's actually been better than previously. Inventory UI and interaction. Inventory UI, the interaction, since they added the whole new looting system and the UI system, the UI look, it's been bad. It's been bad. In my opinion, it's one of the things that have lessened my zeal or want to go loot gear, craft gear, do all these things. It doesn't matter if I do all of that thing. If I go to my inventory in my kiosk and my things are disappearing. I literally just got a new set of Overlord, the orange stuff. Why the hell did I lose an item because I put it on, but the game did not register that I put it on and it disappeared? Things like that, the speed of things loading up, those are things that just make me like, I don't even want to interact with armor. I want to put in a set on and leave that set on. Because right now we have tier 0. I'm getting my things back anyway. I just want to have a nice set on, leave it on. I don't want to care about doing no inventory crafting. I don't want to do none of that. So yeah, inventory and interactions, they need to be sorted out. It's a thing that's, yeah, it's definitely a pain point. Ships being falsely marked as lost or destroyed. Exactly. That's happened a few times. It happens when you do bunkers. It hasn't happened to me so like a lot this patch, but it happened before when I used to do a lot of bunkers. Docking, yeah, people have been complaining about docking. Ship and FPS AI, please. We just saw, I did how many missions there where this AI simply didn't attack. They just sat there, gave me free kills. I like the challenge. FPS AI, they're always doing their own thing. Those guys are cooked, right? The login flow and exploits. I feel like for a game that is this early in alpha, exploits aren't as bad as I expected. I would have expected like exploits to be a lot worse than StarCitizen. They're not as bad in my opinion, right? But what do I know? In addition, we are tracking a broad list of quality of life issues frequently reported by new players. While many veteran players have learned workarounds for common problems, they shouldn't have to. We've been saying this, so thank you for agreeing. As we continue working towards making Star Citizen as welcoming as possible for new players, we're also addressing many of the issues that commonly affect the first hour of gameplay. But I can't help but read that and see it as a thing of so new players and the potential of more new players when we drop Squadron 42 is more of a concern than the people who helped us bring the 1 billion to the table, where we are now fixing these things because of the possibility of new players when Squadron drops and keeping those new players while we let like this. Some of you have been here for like 13 years and suffering with things, and then they're fixing it now because of new players and they want to keep those new players. But Star Citizen is a project that has been built by people who've been here for these years, you know? You're stressed out. You look 39 because you're stressed out. After reading that, it bugs me. I don't know if it bugs you guys, but it bugs me because I'm like, yes, I want to help new players and I want to make the game as like palatable for new players, but I'm just, it just hurts that it took new players for you to start fixing these things and you just let your vets suffer, you know? I don't like that. I really don't like that. For those who remember the state of transit in the early 2025, we're applying a similar philosophy here. At one point, months of bug fixing produced only incremental improvements, so we shifted our focus to developing new debugging tools for QA that could identify root causes rather than simply addressing symptoms. The result is what many would consider a far more robust transit system today. That's true. That's very true. I would say when they started just doing transit, was it after Race for Stanton? They started doing that. It's really improved now. Things are still breaking. Things are still breaking, but not at the same velocity. Oh, hey there. Look at you. You've watched this video all the way till this point. So for that, you have a chance to enter a secret giveaway. And don't you dare tell anybody else. Make it discreet. Because this time around, we're going to be giving away a special flare that you could only get for going to a StarCitizen. And yes, I decided I don't really use flares, so I'm going to be giving it to one of you guys. In respect to Alien Week, it's almost coming to an end. And to enter, it's super simple. Like this video, be subscribed to the channel, and comment something nice. And in that comment, you need to write, "Stop Alien Hate." That's all you have to do. Be subscribed, like the video, and comment down below saying "Stop Alien Hate." If you commented and make it bait so everyone else knows, you're not entered. So leave a nice comment and somewhere in there, write that. And you're in. And good luck to every single one of you guys. And yeah, continue watching the video now. Free elevators are a good example of why this matters. Despite 70 to 80 fixes since last summer, players still don't feel the system is as stable or reliable as it should be. Most of that work addressed individual symptoms rather than the underlying causes. Freight elevators interact with many other gameplay systems, creating a large surface area for these issues, but as a core gameplay feature, they need to be dependable at all times. 100%. 100%. Okay, so it bugs you too, yeah. I feel like that statement up there, it definitely does bug me. So far, we've resolved roughly 20% of the issues on our current priority list. We do not expect it to complete every fix in time for Alpha 4.9, but we're confident that this more methodical, root cause driven approach is the right path forward for systems of StarCitizen scale and complexity. Naturally, an initiative like this comes with trade offs. It requires dedicated time from several of the teams responsible for those core systems, time that would otherwise be spent developing new features. So, are we doing a 180 from last year? So, last year was stability improvements. Are they doing a 180 and saying we said we're going away from that, or was it content last year? No, it was improvements, right? Are they saying they're doing a 180 and going back to that? Now they're going back to that. It wasn't bad. Last year, Star Citizen was until this race for standing. Star Citizen was freaking awesome, bro. I loved it. Like the bugs were, it felt nice. So if they're going back to that, I do think they need to sit on that. No problem, man. No problem. Like sit on stability a little bit more. That was a really nice time playing Star Citizen. With that in mind, we're moving Siege of Orson and all instance-related content out of Alpha 4.9 and into a new 4.10 schedule for mid-August. These additional 4 weeks will also allow us to continue hardening the features and technology and relating this. We've been telling them this, and they've been telling us, no, we need to get 4.8.2 out, 4.8.3. No. Now they're like, we messed up. The fact that they tried to tell us that in the tech talk, the things that happened wasn't that big of a deal. They literally gaslit us and said, Benoit and Jared sat there, gaslit us. They said the things that happened to make 4.8 the way it is weren't that big, but you're changing the whole flow of how we're looking at the production of Star Citizen. That's a lie. It was that big. Those things were issues. And the biggest issue was we didn't have enough security. So you guys are basically admitting that what you said last week was wrong. And you're basically saying we need to have better security. And until we have better security, we're not going to bring something as big as instancing into Star Citizen. That's basically what they're saying. And in my opinion, it's warranted. It is warranted because you don't want to keep building on top of a broken foundation. You don't want to keep building things with loopholes. Have fixes, have your systems. And what they explained was that they're making all these new things without having like safety protocols. You can't be adding a whole bunch of new things with no safety protocols. That's dumb. You need to have safety. You need to build for failure. As they said, you need to build for failure, including protocols in case something goes bad, in case something goes wrong. You need to have those systems in place that helps you fix it at a faster turnaround. So I'm not mad at that, but I would have rather them have come out and say, yeah, we're apologizing, guys. Sorry, guys. Because they literally came down on us because they said it's not as bad as we think it is. Instancing in particular introduced a significant number of new systems, backend services, and gameplay mechanics that require additional validation before we're comfortable bringing it to the live service. Based on the recent tech preview build, we believe more work is still needed. And thank you for that. Thank you that you've gone into those tech preview builds, you've tested them out, and you still think it needs more, so you're doing more. Thank you. I would rather you guys pull back than give it something broken. So I thank you. CIG, thank you. That sits well with me. That honestly sits well with me. With these changes, Alpha 4.9 in mid-July will still deliver a variety of reprioritized bug fixes, optimizations, quality of life improvements, and new content. Quality of life improvements and new content. So they're still bringing new content, right? We're excited to get into your hands as quickly as possible. Reflective of this new initiative that continues beyond this month's release into 4.10 in August and 4.11 in September. As always, thank you for continuing to report issues to the Issue Council. Your reports, along with feedback and spectrum and throughout the Help Center, remain invaluable in helping us to identify, investigate, and resolve problems. I'm not mad at that. Are you guys mad at that? I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at that. And I feel like, in a sense, they're apologizing, but they're not apologizing in what most people would want to see, but they're apologizing in their own way. I feel like that's what it is. I feel like they're apologizing their own way. And from what they've stated, I'm not mad about it because I would rather 4.9 working, right? I don't want instancing in Siege of Orson if I can't play it. What is the point? So I'd rather them pull back on it. And I'm not mad at all. I'm actually not mad at all. I would rather that. I would rather this, and I would rather getting bug fixes and other things than 4.9 in my opinion. No. I get that. I get that disappointment. 100%. I get that. 4.8, for the whole of 4.8, my main emotion is disappointment. 100%. And the fact that I'm trying to do this Xenothread event and it's also broken, I'm upset. I'm upset. But if 4.9 actually works and all I see is improvements through the whole 4.9 cycle, I will be okay.